Hi. Today what I'm going to look or talk about is some people have asked me to demonstrate some forms, the applications of some of the forms, should I say. So for instance, I've put on some applications of Wing Chun and some of our drills, and some people through email had asked would I show some applications of Silum Tao, for instance. And this brings me to a very interesting point, which is what in my club we call training forms and fighting forms. We have what we would describe as a training form would be a form that doesn't concentrate on applications. So I'm not visualizing opponents around me. So something like Silum Tao form, you're running through this structural principles and the mechanics of the body. I'm not thinking about an application. So when I'm standing in this position here, I'm not imagining block high, block low, punch a person, then you do this, and then you do that. One movement doesn't follow the next. So I'm not saying that when I block down here, I come up, then they punch, I circle their hand, and then strike them. Then I grab them. You're thinking completely wrong. There's no correlation between one movement and the next movement. Okay, they can be taken out and mixed any which way. Okay, and a lot of systems have that type of form. I view in the Yili Tren system, we have a form called Sanbao Tren, which I've put on video as well, 3 jewels fist. I view that form as a very similar type of idea as a training form. The form starts off turning to the side. Well, it actually has a greet, but it turns off to the side. Okay, basic techniques. I don't see it as when you do this, you have to do that, then you do this, and try to connect them together. Second piece comes out, hit, here, hit, hit, hit. I don't think of the person punches, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this. Okay, in my opinion, you're thinking completely wrong. Okay, there are, of course, within every form or training form, there are certain pieces you can take out that may very well be connected together, and you can use them to connect it together. But that's not what you're looking at trying to train. You're training out the skeletal structures of the body, something like I view Sanbao Tren, for instance, which I've posted up. It's teaching you short-range power. It's teaching you the mechanics of the body. The first section is teaching you one arm. The second section is teaching you 2 arms. From there, I can change my footwork, I can change angles, I can put the movements together in any which way. Just because this movement here is followed by this movement, followed by that movement, doesn't say that I can't use this to this to this. It's just to this movement, it's just this shape. Okay? I could use it as an arm. Damien could be coming in to me. He could be striking in here. I could be using it as an arm bar. Okay? In this way. The form, I'm not saying that when the person strikes in, I have to go from here to here to here. Okay, I'm thinking you're limited. Okay, you're limiting your mind and the way you can use it. These are just shapes, and I've learned to move between them. I can use them any which way I want, from any position. Okay. However, there are certain forms in which we view as fighting forms. A fighting form would be something where literally you stand, you visualize the attackers around you, and then as you start to do the form, you imagine somebody attacking and doing a technique. For instance, a lot of praying mantis forms would be fighting forms. So I would literally visualize techniques. So there might be a movement in a form that goes ala, tsoi, chai, chop, backwards. Okay, and literally when the person attacks in, I could be in this position here, okay, and do the technique exactly as it is in the form. Okay, so the forms can start off with. They start off, I breathe, I visualize the attackers around me, and then I move into the movements. And literally those fighting movements can be taken out and put into application. So often when the person practices that type of form, their visualization and their focus is quite different to someone practicing a training form. If I'm practicing a training form, I have no concern and I'm not thinking about an opponent. So if I'm practicing Sanbao Tren, and here I'm not thinking about or Silum Tao, and in Wing Chun I'm not thinking about somebody in front of me and I'm doing the application. I'm just concentrating on my technique. Okay? Where other systems I may literally be thinking as the person attacks, I'm moving in and I'm visualizing the techniques the whole time. I believe most systems have some training forms and some fighting forms, some are mixed. Okay? So you take something like Tai Chi Chuan, it's a training form, but it's also a fighting form in some ways. You've got postures and principles you're moving through, and a lot of those movements you can take directly out and use as applications. Okay, but it'd be quite different to most Wing Chun forms. Silum Tao, Chum Kyu, Bilji, teaching no applications. So when some people ask me, could you show applications of Silam Tao? No. Because the Silam Tao has no applications. It has principles that I can put into application. All the movements are doing words. If I do something like a Tansao position, okay, this is just a handout. It only becomes Tansao when it connects with the person. So the person moves in, it becomes Tansao now. Here, it's just me putting my hand up. Okay, I need the other so there is no application. What footwork I use, how I use it, really is open. I can adapt. Okay, so training forms and fighting forms. System that we practice in our club, 7-star praying mantis, Chatsing Tonglong. One of the first major forms that most people know is Bongbokun, a burst step or a crushing step boxing. I view this as a training form as well, not a fighting form. I believe it's teaching the 12 keywords, the principles of the system, and if you try to take the movements directly out into application, I believe you're looking at the form wrong. All the other forms in the system, you start to see the expressions of those principles come out in applications. It's teaching principles. Those who have attended some of my seminars, I expand on this a lot. Right from the beginning of the form, it starts to teach you angles of footwork and things that you're using. If you can see me, the form, most of the forms go in a straight line, but the start of the form actually teaches you to go at angles. But a lot of people try to use that in application, and it's wrong. Okay, and I will just show you now. Okay, if Damien lunges in, okay, and I step, and a lot of people teach it like this. They step to the side and they punch. Okay, watch. Why doesn't it work? When he punches through, and I'm in here, I'm in cat stance. Okay, I've even seen people punch the back. Okay, here. Okay, nothing. That's strong. Okay, it's not going to work. This cat stance, what I'm actually learning is principles that when the person's moving in softly now, that here, when I'm moving in, I can be kicking, but it's also teaching me an angle. Okay, it's an empty foot, so now I'm not going to do that because now it'll work. If I drive in this way and I move and I come through, okay, it's taught me an angle. So again, this form is it's teaching me principles, not applications. If you stand like this and try to do this, okay, never going to work. Then you try to do this and jump back and grab somebody. You punch in. People teach that, okay? Never going to happen, okay? Bongbokun is not teaching you applications. It's not an application form. It's teaching you principles. Those who attended my seminar recently in Newcastle, I expanded upon this. I'm not going to expand on it now, but we were doing some of the seminars. But you see how some forms are training forms and some are fighting forms. And unfortunately, some people misunderstand the two. So they spend all their time trying to figure out applications, and they actually aren't applications. Okay, they're principles. And then once you understand how to read that, then you understand how to fit it into your system. Okay, so I hope that's just got some food for thought. This will be an add-on. We'll start doing some other little snippets of videos that hopefully when you listen to this, then the other things that I do will make a little bit more sense. This is just how I view things and what I've learned from some of my teachers. So of course people are going to disagree. People have different ideas, and that's fine. That's what makes things interesting. Okay, so I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the way other people teach things. This is just what I've found that works for me, what I've been taught from my teachers over the many years of training, and it's worked for me. It works for my students, and so take it with an open mind. Thank you.